It is November 2nd, and here's what's making news right now.
A new home, a new life. One wounded veteran gets a new place to call home.
In mid-Missouri, volunteers pack up to help those affected by Sandy.
And we're live at Hickman High School for tonight's big matchup between the Cupies and the Bruins. KOMU First at 5 starts now.
Live from Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News First at 5.
As much of the nation watches the help along the East Coast, a local example today of neighbors helping one of their own. Good evening, I'm Angie Bailey.
And I'm Dan Kennedy. Today marked the last stretch of a project that has brought the Jefferson City community together to support a local war veteran. 2 years ago, a sniper shot Marine Corporal Tyler Huffman while serving in Afghanistan. The wound left him paralyzed. So last May, construction crews broke ground on a new wheelchair-accessible home. And now the home is finished and ready for a Veterans Day move-in.
Today, volunteers from around the city came out to finish getting the house ready for Huffman and his family.
KOMU 8's Carly McGuire is here to tell us what they've been doing.
Yep, that's right. 6 months after breaking ground, the new smart home for Corporal Tyler Huffman is nearly complete. Members of the Jefferson City Jays softball team came out and helped clean the house before furnishings arrive next week. Volunteers installed appliances and a fully automated electronic system for Huffman. Contractor Scott Shapercutter says he has mixed feelings about the project coming to a close.
There's been a lot harder times than others, but it's almost bittersweet because it's anxious. I'm glad I'm done, but then again, I'm gonna miss this project.
And Shapercutter says everything is running smoothly and the house will be ready for Huffman and his family to move in on Veterans Day.
A driver hit a pedestrian on Old Highway 63 earlier this afternoon. The accident took place right in front of a bus stop on Old 63 near the student apartment complexes. Medical responders took the man to a local hospital by ambulance. Officials would not say his condition, but did say he was alert and talking when they arrived.
Weather-wise, a pretty good-looking day today. I think we topped out somewhere pretty close to 60 degrees right now. We're looking at some high clouds on live Doppler 8 First Alert radar and satellite composite. They're high, so the sun's not having too much trouble filtering through what little bit of the sunshine is left. Take a look at our present conditions. 57 in Columbia, 60 at Jefferson City. At the lake, warmer still at 64. Boonville at 59. Going out this evening, it won't be too bad. We'll have increasing cloudiness and a very slight chance of a shower later on. Temperature right in the low 50s as we approach that 9 or 10 o'clock hour tonight. More on the forecast coming up on KOMU 8 News First at 5.
Well, more volunteers headed out today to help out with Hurricane Sandy's recovery efforts. This morning, volunteers from the Missouri Baptist Convention loaded up supplies to head to New York. The group from Missouri includes 60 volunteers who come from all over the state. The volunteers are bringing shower stations with them because they won't always have access to restrooms. In their trucks, volunteers are also bringing equipment so they can cook meals for Hurricane Sandy victims.
And the other unit has a full kitchen on it that'll do about 25,000 meals on it. It's got the ovens, it's got the steamers, and it got all that. Once we get there, we'll get the food then to do that.
The group is headed to Middletown, New York, and should be arriving about 1:30 tomorrow morning. It's going to find out the exact assignments once they get there. NBC Universal is hosting a benefit telethon to help victims of Hurricane Sandy tonight. It's going to be carried by all of the networks of NBC Universal and hosted by Today Show anchor Matt Lauer. Money collected will be given to the American Red Cross Relief for Hurricane Sandy. The telethon is going to air at 7 o'clock our time. Bruce Springsteen, Billy Joel, John Bon Jovi, Sting, and Christina Aguilera are just some of the performers who have committed to lend their talents.
There's still plenty of work to be done to get New York and New Jersey back online.
And two presidential candidates have dramatically different takes on today's jobs report. KOMU 8's Meg Pulling has your first look at news from around the nation.
40 hours before it was set to begin, city officials and organizers canceled Sunday's New York Marathon. The original decision to keep the race drew strong protests this week as the city copes with hurricane recovery. More than 1.3 million homes and businesses across the state of New York are still without power, days after Hurricane Sandy slammed the northeast coast. This explosion Monday night at a Consolidated Edison utility plant in Manhattan didn't help matters either. As of Friday morning, Con Ed reported that 565,000 utility customers are still without power. It could take a week or longer to restore power. The presidential campaign moves into its final home stretch this weekend. Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney campaigned this morning in Wisconsin. Romney talked about the jobs report released today. Employers added 171,000 jobs last month. However, the unemployment rate ticked up to 7.9%. Romney says it's unacceptable. But President Obama is touting today's new jobs numbers as proof the business climate and economy is improving. At a stop in Ohio, the president addressed today's employment report during his first of 3 Ohio campaign rallies this Friday. Recalling the economic crisis when he took office, the president said the addition of 171,000 U.S. jobs later this month continues a strong and positive economic indicators. And that's your first look around the nation.
Internationally today, police scuffled with opposition protesters in Ukraine who claim the president's party has stolen several parliamentary seats. The scuffles came as vote counting from Sunday's parliamentary election nears its conclusion. Accusations of vote rigging have marred the vote. This time the time it's taking to finalize the results in some districts have further fanned accusations of election fraud. Bad weather isn't just on America's East Coast. Iceland has been battered with bad weather as well. Since late last night, heavy wind and snow have hit areas across the country. In just 4 hours this morning, 25 people had to go to the emergency room because of the weather. Hurricane-strength winds were reported in eastern Iceland. The bad weather is forecast to last until tomorrow afternoon. And IKEA employees formed a human chain today outside the company's warehouses in northern Italy. 5 people had minor injuries when police tried to clear the demonstration from a road shrouded in fog. Police dragged some protesters away. No one was seriously hurt. Protesters want better pay and working conditions.
For only the second time in the school's histories, Hickman and Rockbridge High Schools will be meeting tonight in the sectional round of the high school football playoffs. And both schools have been working hard all week to set up for tonight's game. As of 2 this afternoon, the schools have sold 3,100 of the 6,000 tickets for the game. There will be 4,700 actual seats for the game tonight, and the remaining 1,300 will be standing room only. KOMU 8's Addison Walton joins us live from Hickman High School for tonight's game. Now, Addison, this is the second time these two teams have met this year, right?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, the rarity for this high school Columbia football game, it's happening tonight, and fans are just showing up. Now, as you mentioned earlier, the Bruins and the Kewpies have only met once before in the playoffs. And as we know, normally the regular season Providence Bowl happens at Memorial Stadium on Mizzou's campus. But because Hickman is the higher seed in this year's playoffs, they're hosting tonight's game. Now, earlier this afternoon, we spoke with Hickman Athletic Director Doug Mertz, and he said he couldn't ask for a better atmosphere for tonight's matchup.
You know, it's going to be beautiful weather, great facility, great, everything's going well for everything. I think it's a great atmosphere for high school football. Unfortunately, someone's going to move on and someone's not going to move on. That'll be the sad part.
And we will have full team coverage of tonight's playoff game between the Bruins and the Kewpies on Friday Night Fever on KOMU 8 News at 9 and 10. Reporting live from Columbia, Addison Walton, KOMU 8 News.
It's a nice night for a football game. Well, Mizzou football has made its way to new cities, new campuses, new states, and new stadiums during its inaugural season in the SEC.
And the farthest they've traveled is to Gainesville, Florida, where they're facing the Florida Gators tomorrow at the Swamp. And that's where we find KOMU 8's Common Inchev to tell us about the home field advantage those Gators seem to enjoy. Hey, Common.
Missouri will take on the 8th-ranked Florida Gators, which should be a tough road test. Florida has the 11th largest stadium in the country with a capacity of just under 90,000 people. Now, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium behind me is the statue of Steve Spurrier. Now, the stadium is more commonly known as the Swamp. Spurrier came up with the name when he was a coach in the 90s, and the Swamp is hot and sticky, and only Gators can come out alive, as Spurrier said. And temperature has been quite hot here in the past, temperatures ranging over 100 degrees in games. As a result, in 1965, researchers at the university came up with a drink, Gatorade, to rehydrate the players. And the players in Florida have been alive and well and hydrated, as the Gators are 159-20 in home games since 1990, including a perfect 4-0 this season. Reporting live in Gainesville, Florida, Kamenenchev, KOMU 8 Sports.
I did not realize that's where Gatorade comes from. That makes perfect sense. November officially here.
And that means the cold weather's here. Coming up next, details on a program to make sure everyone's staying warm.
And some researchers think they may have found a link that could reduce a certain type of cancer.
And the weekend looks pretty good, although it will be a little cooler, but you can handle that. It is November. We'll check it next on KOMU 8 News at 5.
And there's a live look over the Sedalia area. That 5 o'clock sunset, folks. It's going away. Don't forget about those clocks. Dave's going to tell you more. The Swedish research team says they have isolated a gene that could, in the future, prevent bowel cancer. In the latest issue of Science magazine, an institute in Sweden says when they removed the gene, the mice in the study had a reduction of bowel cancer. It's kind of a genetic relay switch. Doctors say a specific gene region can turn on and off a powerful cancer-associated gene. Multiple surgeries may extend the lives of patients with the most deadly form of brain cancer. The average survival after a diagnosis of brain cancer is only about 14 months, and recurrence is almost a certainty. Many doctors are hesitant to operate multiple times because the prognosis is poor. But researchers found patients who underwent 3 to 4 surgeries lived 16 to 20 months longer than those who had a one-time operation. Check this out. Exposure to concentrated cigarette smoke, like in a car or in a bar, impaired breathing within 20 minutes. Greek researchers tested the effects of these types of secondhand smoke on 15 healthy people. After only 20 minutes, they did experience airway resistance, even though they showed no feelings of discomfort during the test. And loud noise conditions in intensive care units could be hurting patients. A Yale University study found sound levels between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. affect patients' sleep patterns. Of course they do. Researchers say these noise levels, along with a lot of in-room activity overnight, disrupts patients' sleep patterns, which may lead to a worse outcome.
Hey, Halloween may be over, but the holiday season has many thinking about Christmas. Coming up next in today's talk, how soon is too soon? Halloween is now behind us, and some are already thinking about Christmas. So today we asked you on Facebook what you thought about it. Is it too soon to start preparing for the holiday season? And here's what you had to say. Kristen Garrick thinks it is too early and too soon, saying, hey, it is way too early. I start doing Christmas decorating the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Christy Hargis thinks Christmas can never come too early. She says, I love Christmas music and I don't think it's too early. I can't wait until the radio stations start playing songs. It's never too early to rejoice in special time of the year. I'm with you there, Christy. But Sheila Garrison thinks it's still too early. She says, can't we just slow down and enjoy decorating for Thanksgiving first? Thanksgiving equals giving thanks for all the good things in our lives.
MU's Museum of Anthropology hosted its 3rd annual Spirited Museum tour today to celebrate the Mexican holiday, also known as Day of the Dead. Tour guides dressed up as spirits of the past to walk visitors through the museum every 30 minutes.
The best thing is seeing everyone's reactions to our costumes, but also just letting people know about our museum and talking about the things that we have on display here, because we are really, we really enjoy our pieces and we like the public to see them as well.
It is kind of spooky there. The public can also craft flowers to put on the altar to honor those loved ones who have passed, just like they do on the Day of the Dead celebration. 40 international beer experts have gathered in Brussels to crown the best beers of the world. It is the first challenge. When it ends on Sunday, they will have to choose the best 500 beers from 16 countries. Their favorites to win prizes are Belgium and the U.S. Belgium represented by 60 breweries and the U.S. by 50. 500 beer samples. Wow. That's going to be quite a hangover. Yeah. Here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 6 tonight. We'll continue our team coverage from the Rockbridge-Hickman playoff showdown. Plus, with 4 days left until the election, we'll keep you informed about our Smart Decision 2012 coverage with candidate interviews. That's right, Dave.
So many beers, so little time, right?
Oh,
Not a chance of a shower or two tonight. 49 for the overnight low. Your Saturday looks like it's going to be right around 56 degrees with a few clouds.
Don't forget to set those clocks back tomorrow night, folks.
See you back at 6.